I almost said no. I almost said no. God's been leading me and teaching me about the importance of obedience without hesitation. And I'm going to be honest. I fail often. He'll tell me to say something to somebody and I'll hesitate. He'll tell me to do something for somebody and I'll hesitate. He'll tell me that somebody needs me to go pray for them, and again, I will hesitate. So, I almost said no. A little over 6 weeks ago, my biological father, who had not been in my life for the majority of it, he didn't come back into my life until about 7 or 8 years ago. And then it was still a process. Healing takes time. Forgiveness takes time. And he was having hip surgery. And he wanted to stay at my house. Wanted me to help take care for him for the first 6 weeks until he got released from the hip doctor. And I almost said no. You see, it was an entirely different kind of no, because this no I felt justified in making. After all, I'm dealing with my own health struggles, and I'm raising 7 kids and homeschooling and working in the ministry and all of these things. Could I find the time to care for a man who had not taken the time to care for me as I was growing up? And yet, I kept feeling the Holy Ghost push into my spirit. Say yes. So, against my flesh, against what I wanted to do, against everything I thought was right, my husband and I made the decision to say yes. But I almost said no. You don't know what a big deal that is unless you know the full story. He did have hip surgery. And 2 weeks later, he had to have a repeat surgery because his hip had came out of socket. When the 6 weeks were up, he was released from the hip doctor with a clean bill of health. He'd had labs the day before and everything was looking perfect. I rode with him to his hometown, which is about 35 minutes away from mine. I took him grocery shopping so he could have food while he went home. And then I offered to drive because shopping wears you out. We never made it to his house. He sat in his truck, breathed his last breath, and his heart stopped. And to think, I almost said no. I almost said no when the Holy Ghost was prompting me. And I'm so glad that I didn't. If I would have said no, I would have missed out on 6 weeks of a journey of forgiveness and healing with my Father. I would have missed out on those little moments. And yes, it wasn't always easy, and I didn't always do everything right. There were times I lost my temper. There were times my tone was not respectful. But in those 6 weeks, God mended a relationship that had been broken for over 30 years. God used that time to prepare me for what was coming. If I would have said no, he would have went somewhere else. He would have stayed in somebody else's home. He would have been cared for by somebody else. Somebody else would have watched him take his last breath. And somebody else would have known that they had done all that they could, and that they had taken care of him and showed him love and made him a part of their family. Somebody else would have had a clear conscience. Somebody else would have had that time. But thank God I didn't say no. And it wasn't easy. But thank God I didn't say no. So whatever it is today, whatever God's asking you to do, I encourage you today, don't say no. Say yes. Because in your obedience, you don't know the blessing that's coming. You don't know what God sees ahead. And this might be just what you need for closure. This might be just what you need for the next chapter. This might be just what you need so you can have no regrets. So your healing and forgiveness and your healing can be complete. So your journey can be full. And you can know that you did all you can do. Don't say no. Don't say no. Don't say no. You might struggle with the yes. That's fine. You don't have to understand the yes. But don't say no. Don't say no. Because I would hate to think what would have happened if I let my flesh win out against the Holy Ghost and I would have said no. I almost said no, but thank God He kept pushing until I said yes. Today, say yes to whatever it is God's asking you to do. I promise you, it is the best thing for you. His yes is always, always the best thing for your life.